Hey guys, back with another video, and today I'm going to react to how much power does India have, so should be interesting. I regret I have but one life to give my country. Probably military power, mostly.
Having the second largest population in the world with a total of over 1.3 billion people, India also has the third largest military in the world in terms of active frontline personnel, behind China and the United States. But in terms of total military power, they come at number 4 on the world stage, following China, Russia, and the United States. Welcome back to another episode of FTD Facts, guys. My name is Leroy Kenton, and now we're diving into how much power does India actually have. If you missed our first episode in this series about how much power Russia has, you may want to check that out. The link to that is down below. And before we continue with this video, I just have to give a huge shout out and tons of credit to Instagram user Anindia_N_Singh_07. He sent me a ton of accurate information about India's military, their power, and just facts about India in general. So thank you so much. He's the official co-producer of this episode. In terms of available manpower, India has 616 million people. They have 1,325,000 active frontline personnel, as well as 2,143,000 active reserve personnel.
Damn.
Also, did you know that India's army is the world's largest standing voluntary army? But to support the soldiers on the floor, they gotta have amazing land systems. India has a total of 4,426 tanks. The number of armored vehicles is 6,704, as well as they have 292 multiple launch rocket systems on the ground. Now moving up way up there into the sky, the total number of aircrafts in India's military is 2,102. Their fighters and interceptors total at 676. They got 809 fixed-wing attack aircrafts ready to strike, as well as 666 helicopters. 666. Hope that's not a sign of bad luck or anything. But in terms of attack helicopters, they have only 16. Now coming back down into the waters now, let's talk about their navy. India's total naval strength is at 295. That includes 3 aircraft carriers, 11 destroyers, 15 submarines, 23 corvettes, 14 frigates, 139 coastal defense crafts, and their mine warfare is at 6. Now in terms of India's finances that has to fund all of their military, well, their total defense budget stands at $53.5 billion. India currently is going through a huge military expansion, and India's defense minister says that India will need $233 billion. That's all to meet its arms and equipment requirements in 11 years. That number is calculated off of the long-term integrated perspective plan, known as the LTIPP. So yeah, India is not afraid to spend that money, and the budget just keeps on climbing. And this next fact is due to a lot of the budget that India is putting into their military. In late 2016, India had actually completed its nuclear triad by adding a strategic nuclear submarine known as the INS Arhant into its military. India has now become one of the only countries in the world to complete the nuclear triad. Now, if you're not familiar with that term, nuclear triad basically refers to a country's ability to launch nuclear warheads from the land, from the sky, and from the sea. Now, this is very crucial to India's second strike capability, because India is dead set on having a no first use policy when it comes to nuclear attacks. And basically, second strike capability is a country's ability to strike back with nuclear weapons when they have first been hit with a nuclear attack. Since India's independence, they have participated in several wars, including 4 major wars with Pakistan and 1 with China. And through fights like this, India has gained a ton of combat experience. India's military has experience to fight in pretty much every type of terrain that is there, because in India, their terrain range from desert, high mountains, deltas, plateaus, valleys, tropical forests. Their combat personnel do regular training and exercises in these various types of terrain, so they know how to handle themselves if they gotta go up into the mountains. They know how to operate when it gets cold, and that gives them a great advantage when it comes to battle. Now, although India is not exactly part of any major military alliance, they do, however, have close military relationships with other major powers in the world. And those countries include Russia, Israel, Afghanistan, France,
I know Israel,
Bhutan,
and I knew they used to have
and the United States.
relations
now, although
with
India's
Russia
military
as well.
towers in size compared to others, they do have their downfalls, and probably one of the most major flaws, and yet Pakistanis are gonna love this. India has focused on military force. However, they haven't centered their focus on military power. And I'll explain the difference. Basically, military force is acquiring any sort of weaponry, personnel, all of that stuff. But in terms of military power, India's defense services have very little understanding of how to use their own nuclear weapons. And one thing I want to point out is that even before Narendra Modi, the current Prime Minister of India, came into power in the year 2014, there was a theme of Make in India that was being pushed through the country. Of course, now Narendra Modi's team is enforcing this, and he's hoping that by the year 2020, 70% of India's military weapons will be made in-house. Now, this is because the massive portion of Indian military weapons are not actually made in India. It's kind of ironic because I thought everything was made in India or China. So yeah, that's a big thing. India imports a lot of their weapons from other major countries. So they do lack that central
that makes sense. I've heard they get a lot of their weapons from Israel, for example.
If anything happens and they got to cut ties with
and
some
I heard
of these
they buy
countries
some from
that
the
imports
US
weapons, India will be left hanging. There's also been several attacks on Indian military bases in the past several years that should have really been avoided, or at least minimized. But these downfalls happen because of the chain of command, as well as how intelligence inputs were responded to. But in order to improve these holes in India's defense, there are some long-term plans that have been established, including smart fencing for military installations, better equipment for their forces, as well as developing a specialized force to defend their bases. Now, as the country of India continues to grow in population dramatically every single year, billions of dollars are continually spent on military expansion, as well as India's initiatives to have their weapons made in-house. But in the long term, it will serve as a benefit for the country, although they will have to spend more on their own technology and developments. But India doesn't look like they're scared to spend money when it comes to military expansion. So really, who knows how big they'll grow in the next 10, 20 years. That concludes this episode on India's military power. And don't miss our first episode on Russia's military power. A lot of you guys loved that one.
Fascinating.
So also let me know down below,
Pretty damn
what other
fascinating.
country do you want us to document?
Hopefully,
their
the
military
US
power? And we'll
and India
definitely
can
work on
continue
a
being
video
allies.
as soon as possible.
And
I
yeah,
wish we had
hopefully
billions
India,
of dollars in the
stays
FTD
strong,
Facts budget. We'll be
and the
producing so many
Quad,
videos. Well, since we are talking
continues
about
to
budget,
patrol
we have
the
set up a Patreon
Pacific,
page
so
where you can support
hopefully
us.
everything goes well.
These videos take a lot of time and research as
that was fascinating to watch.
well as on our Patreon page. The
All
link
right.
to that is down below.
It's done. All right. Yeah, definitely fascinating. Yeah, the Indian military is pretty powerful, and they have the third largest military, but they are the fourth most powerful. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. They have a large population, but maybe not all the money and resources to put into their military compared to other more developed nations, for example. But yeah, still fascinating. They have the third largest active military though. India is I think it's a country that's doing the right thing, and that's taking a stand for democracy. So that's really good. Hopefully, the U.S. and India can continue being allies. That's a good thing. So yeah, quite an interesting video. If you have any recommendations, please put down in the comments, and give me your thoughts in the comments as well. And if you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That's important. Don't forget to subscribe. So, thanks for watching.